My name's Gregory D, and a massive welcome to the very first instalment of my meal prep series, a series that's dedicated to showing you just how quick, simple and cheap meal prep really can be. When I talk about meal prep, I'm not talking about any boring meal prep. I'm talking about not only healthy and nutritious meals, but mind-blowingly tasty, flavoursome, exciting dishes. So today, to keep things super simple, we're going to be cooking roast chicken, sweet potato and broccoli with the most fierce sauce I'm going to throw together at the end. It's going to send this into orbit. Just a few things to note then before we jump into this ingredients breakdown. Today we are going to be making 5 meals. Everything I've used is included in the list except salt, pepper and olive oil. Also, if you can grab some baking paper or tin foil, that will also come in. As always, I've done most of my shopping from ALDi because it works out cheaper. However, I believe there is one item that I purchased from TESCO's. If you need a full breakdown of my detailed shopping list, you can get this from the description. And I've apportioned costs relatively to allow us to calculate the actual cost per meal. So for instance, a jar of honey won't cost you 30 pence, but 2 tablespoons of honey, the amount we've used in this recipe, will cost you approximately 30 pence. So with that all being said, with everything taken into consideration, the grand total cost for this meal works out at only £1.21 per meal. Let's get started. So first things first then, preheat our oven to 200 degrees or gas mark 6, then on to make the seasoning for our chicken. Whoa, good job I like garlic. I'm using about 2 tablespoons of garlic granules here. Of course you can use fresh garlic if you like, as well as herbs. However, I'm using the granules because they're quicker, and these recipes are optimised for speed as well as nutrition. And we still retain a lot of the health benefits with the granules. And then in with the mixed herbs. This is a blend of 6 herbs in total. Make sure you get the Tesco's one. It is slightly different to the ALDi one. So then season with a little bit of salt and pepper. Before giving it a little stir, I'm ready for the sprinkle. And it's time to lube up the bird. So I'm using a little bit of olive oil here. Thumb over the top just to stop it flooding out. Just give it a little drizzle with that olive oil, just to get the cooking started and to allow the herbs something to stick to when we sprinkle on. Plenty into the cavity, all over the bird, no messing about. This might seem excessive, but we've got to remember we are going to be making the sauce as well from this seasoning, and we're making 5 meals, so we're going to pack that flavour in. So here you see me cutting across the thighs and the leg, and one of the reasons I do this is to allow the seasoning an easy way into the bird. Doing it at this stage, however, it's actually creating the opposite and it's knocking the seasoning off. Ultimately, I would do it usually before this stage, but I wanted to show you it anyway. The second reason I do it is because it evens out the cooking time, and the third reason, it allows more juice to be produced from the bird throughout the cook. So Greg, it's supposed to be quick meal prep, I hear you say, and you're cooking a full chicken that takes ages? Well, I like to look at it this way. The facts are, a whole chicken gives you far more value for money than buying chicken any other way, like breast fillets, drumsticks, thighs, etc. Even cooked or frozen chicken. So whilst they might not take as long to cook, they cost a lot more. If you're on a budget, you have to make compromises. Not only that, if you're thinking about time, the time the chicken's in the oven is time you can be doing other things. So you're not exactly slaving in the kitchen. You could be watching TV, reading, even checking out more of my videos. Actual graft time for a chicken is say 3 or 4 minutes at the beginning to season, maybe a minute to turn over at midway, and then about 5 minutes picking once it's cool. That's 10 minutes in total. And all that is without even mentioning any of the diversity of flavour that comes from the other parts of the dark meat. This bird in its entirety has to be embraced. So if you're one of these people who've never cooked a whole chicken before, then welcome to the end of your comfort zone and make today the day that you get a chicken in your oven. Next up, sweet potatoes. Now, if you've ever tried peeling and chopping sweet potatoes raw, you may have found it can be quite a chore. So we're not going to do that. We're going to take our sweet potatoes, take out any bits we don't like the look of, give them a good stab so they don't explode during cooking, and then throw them in either the microwave or the oven. Next up then, broccoli. We're going to be using 2 crowns in total, and we're just going to clip off those florets one by one, like so. And then into the steamer they go. I'd say 8 to 10 minutes on the steam or on the boil if you're using a pan of water. For this dish, I do like it a little bit softer, so I might give it another couple of minutes. It's entirely up to you. So out come the sweet potatoes, and when these sweet potatoes come out, leave them to cool, and then just gently cut around the skin or break the skin with your fingers, and they should just fall straight out, like so. And then you can just remove any excess skin and just chop through the sweet potato and do this one by one, and they'll be ready to serve. I just want to quickly point out that yes, there's bags of goodness in the sweet potato skins, and yes, by all means, if you prefer, keep those skins on. We are going to be covering meals in the future that do contain whole sweet potatoes in the skins. However, for me, for this meal, it's all about sweet potatoes without the skins. So after the first 50 minutes then, the bird is ready to turn, and we do this for one main reason, and that's just to keep it moist. The juices obviously run to the bottom, so this just ensures the breast doesn't dry out. And it also ensures an even cook. Out comes our chicken then, make sure it's cooked. If you're using a thermometer, it's 165 degrees Fahrenheit or 75 degrees Celsius into the thickest part of the thigh. If you're not, you can cut the skin between the thigh and the breast to make sure the juices run clear. We'll set that aside, wrap it in foil or baking paper and a tea towel, and allow to rest. Resting is important for a chicken because not only does it allow the juices to redistribute throughout the meat to make it juicier, but it also allows the bird to take in more of that flavour. The longer our chicken rests, the more flavoursome it will be. Rest that chicken for at least 15 minutes, more like probably 30 minutes, to allow it to be cool enough before you pick it. Meanwhile, we're going to drain these juices. Waste none of that flavour on the tray. All those gnarly bits there you see are going to get scraped into that jug to add to our sauce. There you go, you see how the fat sits on the top? I'm just going to sift it off with a teaspoon, a bent teaspoon. You've probably got something a bit more sophisticated, like maybe a bigger bent spoon or even a ladle. This does the job for me. And as soon as it starts to bite into the juice, you know you've taken enough fat off. And now's the time to add the rest of the flavourings. So I'm going to go in with 2 tablespoons of honey. And then 2 tablespoons of light soy sauce. What you want to be aiming for with this sauce is getting in or around the 100ml mark to distribute amongst 5 meals. It's not intended to be a gravy. It's going to be a very rich sauce that just sits at the bottom of the plate, so you don't need much. If you are struggling and you don't feel like you've obtained much juices from the chicken during the cook, you can always add a stock cube with a little bit more water to spin things out a bit more. So the bird comes back from the rest. Just a case of separating meat from bone. I clip off the wings, I clip off the legs, and you see that bit there, the parson's nose, get rid of that under the cavity, get rid of that. And cut through the breast, any skin, and you see that end bit there, get rid of that. And then what I'll do when I pick the carcasses, I'll go back to each leg and even each wing and just remove the bones from those. And at this point, obviously, it's worth bearing in mind exactly how you wish to split your chicken up over your 5 meals. You may want to keep chicken whole, maybe breast one day, leg one day, or you might want to distribute a mix of, you know, dark and breast meat amongst all days. Yes, there's more fat in the dark meat of a chicken than there is in the breast, but there's also more absorbable zinc and iron, which is great for boosting immunity and preventing anemia. So it's all about finding that balance. Just be careful as well when you're stripping these drumsticks. There's a really thin bone that runs alongside the main bone. Make sure you get rid of it. And then finally on goes our sauce, and we are ready to serve or store. These meals can be refrigerated and heated up for up to 3 days, or else frozen. I cannot wait to get stuck into this. Now that is bang on. And over the coming days, is introduced. No, stay there. Sit down, Neezy. Sit down. Stay. Sit and stay, please. Do you want to go home? I'll take you home. I'll take you home. Stay. Neez, go sit down. Sit down. Come on. Oh,